So greetings everyone.
My name is Marcos Gabriel P. Diaz.
And my name is Roger Pimpiarial and we are the group 2. So we will be talking about the Unit 1 of Sir Acuña's Guidebook for Philosophy 1, which is about the analysis of concepts, specifically the modules 5, 6, and 7, which are about...
Module 5 is about ambiguous and vague terms, while Module 6 is about on-definitions.
Module 7 delves specifically into the concept of analytical definitions, which according to Sir Acuña are a better definition than the logical definitions.
Now let's dive in on Module 5, ambiguous and vague terms. Next slide. Ambiguous terms. A term is deemed to be more ambiguous the more they use it in different contexts. As sinasabi ko dun sa PowerPoint, a term is ambiguous if it has more than one interpretation, where each has their own intention and members of their own extension. Next slide. For example, the term good is used differently by different philosophical views. For example, for the hedonist, good means bodily pleasure. And for the humanist, anything that develops the human potential is good. And for logical positivists, good is used to express approval of an act. And you can see here that it says that ambiguity has a degree. If you can no longer identify what the word is talking about, then that means the word is too ambiguous. Ambiguity is fixed by how? Ambiguity is fixed by determining how the term is being used. So you need to define the term before using it. Let's dive into vague terms. A term is vague if the intention is loose or unclear, to the point that where it's difficult to identify the members of its extension. And now, words like few, many, almost, some, all are vague because you don't know who the members are, who to exclude, and who to include. Next slide. To cure a word's vagueness, you need to clarify what it is referring to. And if you cannot do this, the word you're using is too vague. Ano bang issue makukuha natin kapag too vague or too ambiguous? Ito, makikita nyo ay linguistic confusion. It occurs when the listener hears the term used by the speaker in a different way than what the speaker is intending to. Diba? This may cause misunderstandings, so it's necessary to avoid this by making sure that both speaker and the listener are using the word in the same way. Ano pa ang pwede natin maging issue? Isa dyan ang fallacy of equivocation. Isa tong type of confusion. So makikita naman sa book, committed when a term is used in one way, then used again in another way in the same line of reasoning. Diba? For example, only man is rational. No woman is a man. Therefore, anong makukuha natin? No woman is rational. Nakikita niyo ba kung paano nalilito? Kasi sa una, only man is rational. The term man is used para masabi ang humans. Sa second naman, no woman is a man. Sinasabi niya na walang babae ay lalaki. Therefore, ang nakukuha nila ngayon, walang rational na babae. Kasi ano makukuha nila? Therefore, no woman is rational. Walang babae rational, di ba? Next slide. And now, let's go to Module 6 about on definitions. Next slide. Dito tayo pupunta sa mga overview ng mga definitions. Meron tayong definition by synonym, ostensive definition, reportive definition, stipulative definition, and operational definitions. Itatakin natin lahat yan. So next slide tayo. Definition by synonym. The most familiar way of defining a term simply means searching for an equivalent term for that word. Examples are, an argument means a quarrel. A belief means faith. And an alien means foreigner. It should be taken note that not all terms may be defined this way. Because tinatanggalan mo ng depth yung word. Nililimit mo yung definition niya dun sa binigay mong equivalent synonym. And now, next slide. Pasok tayo sa ostensive definition. Defining a term by providing examples of that term. For example, amphibians refer to animals like turtles and frogs. Defining a term by providing examples of that term. For example, amphibians refer to animals like turtles and frogs. Okay, next slide. Now, what can we say about ostensive definition? Ostensive definitions give examples of that term, but it only limits them to that examples. Kunyari, ibalik niyo po sa slide kanina. So, paano ba natin nalilimit yun, di ba? Kunyari, ang term na amphibian ay nalilimit sa mga animals na turtles and frogs. Well, in fact, hindi naman turtle and frogs lang ang amphibians. Okay? Next slide. After ng ostensive definition, ano nga ba ang next?
So nakita natin kung paano nililimit ng ostensive definitions and defining by synonyms yung pwede maging understanding ng isang tao kapag yun yung mga ginamit natin. So paano ba natin isa-solve to? First, we have to identify two significant terms when defining something. These are the intention and the extension, which together, they provide a complete understanding of a term to a person. So ang intention, basically, ito ang description, ang characteristic, or ang trait ng isang term. Ito yung gagamitin mo to describe something. Ang extension naman, ito yung members or members of the extension ang tawag natin. Kasi ito yung mga examples ng term na yun. So, balik tayo dun sa kanina. So, sa examples natin kanina, ginamit natin yung amphibians. We first defined it by giving members of its extension using the ostensive definition. The members we gave were the frogs and the turtles. So those are extensions of the term amphibian. Pero kung lalagyan natin ng intention yan, amphibians are animals that can live both on land and in water. So yun ang extension niya, yung part na yun. Such as frogs, turtles, and salamanders. Ang frogs, turtles, and salamanders ay extension ng term ng amphibian. So, sa ganitong paraan, pinapakita natin kung ano ba talaga yung term na amphibian, kung anong ibig sabihin nito. Binibigyan natin ng deeper understanding yung audience natin para hindi lang nila nakikita yung frogs, turtles, and salamanders as yun lang yung mga amphibian. Kapag nakakita sila ng other animals na nakatira, na pwedeng tumira both sa lupa and sa katubigan, malalaman din nila na, amphibian din pala to. Ang tawag dito, they can not only discriminate frogs, turtles, and salamanders from other animals as amphibians, they can also generalize the other members of amphibians. So, yeah.
Reported definition. A reported definition is a lexical definition and a dictionary use definition. Kumbaga, ito yung conventional definitions nila. Simply tells the intention of the term. Okay? So, ano nga ba ang example natin? A boat is a vessel that is used to transport by water. And now, ano nga ba ang palaging na pag-mix nila sa reported definition? Ito ang stipulated definition. It constricts a term, a definition, into how you will be using it in a certain context. In a way that departs from the conventional use. So, yun yung pinag-aiba nila ng reported definition. Sa reported yung conventional use, sa stipulative, hindi siya yun. Okay? Usually used in the legislation and research papers. For example, a research paper may define self-harming as the act of inflicting physical pain towards oneself. Okay?
The second to the last definition that we will be talking about is the operational definition. So it says here, explains terms using empirical evidence. So by sensing them, by measuring, or by observing. So, ang gustong ibig sabihin na to, let's say, an object is soluble in water only if you may see it dissolved in water. So, ang term natin dyan is yung soluble. So, paano tayo makakahanap ng extensions ng term na soluble? So, nakikita natin na intention niya dito is may see it dissolved in water. So, kailangan muna natin makita, for example, ang extension na gusto natin i-prove ay sugar. So, kailangan muna natin na ma-prove or makita na yung sugar, kapag nilagay mo talaga siya sa water, ay mag-dissolve talaga siya doon. So dito, intention and extensions pa rin siya, pero may kailangan ka munang gawin para ma-prove na operational definition talaga siya. So ayun, you must be able to observe an object perform the criteria in order to ensure that it is an extension of a specific term. So ayun, ang intention dito ay measurable, it's observable, it's empirical. So kailangan nakikita mo muna talaga sa mga mata mo or nararamdaman mo na nangyayari yun before mo masabi na isang bagay ay member of the extension ng term na ito. So next slide. Moving on to the last module of this discussion is the analytical definition. So next. So sa analytical definition, as the name suggests, it's analytical. So talagang pinakalalalim niya talaga, in-depth yung pagde-define ng isang bagay. So ginagawa niya ito sa pagde-divide into 3 categories ng isang term. So first yung definiendum, definiens, and denotata. So here, magdadalwa tayo deeper there, pero simple definitions of this, a definiendum is the term being defined. A definiens is the description of the definiendum, and the denotata are the examples of the definiendum. So if titignan natin, definiendum term, definiens is the intention, then denotata ay yung extension. So ano nga ba ang definiendum? It simply refers to the term that is being described. And as a guide for this discussion, gagamitin natin yung root vegetable na term as our definiendum. So next, a definiens. So sabi ko nga kanina, ito yung intention ng isang bagay. So nanghahati ito sa dalawang bagay, ang genus at ang diferensya. Ang genus, ito yung wider concept pa na kinabibilangan ng term. So, yung genus, maiisip natin na pwede ring term itong genus na to. Tapos yung definiendum natin, nagiging species lang siya or extension lang ng nung wider concept na term na yon. So, sa bagay na to, ang root vegetable ay genus, part siya ng genus na vegetable. So, ang diferensya naman, ito yung nagiging characteristic or trait na nagde-define or nagde-differentiate dun sa definiendum mo from the other species in its genus. So, example natin, ang root vegetable, ang nagiging diferensya niya are the edible roots of the plant that absorb water and store nutrients. So, moving on to the last part, which is the denotata. So, basic lang. Ito yung examples nung ng definiendum. These are the members of the extensions of the definiendum. So, for example, what are root vegetables? Examples of root vegetables. This include carrots, beets, and radishes. A complete example of an analytical definition would look like this. Root vegetables are vegetables that are the edible roots of a plant that store nutrients and absorb water from the soil. Carrots, beets, and radishes are all examples of root vegetables. So kung titignan natin kung saan ba yung three categories natin kanina, obviously root vegetables, the term, would be our definiendum. Yung definiens naman natin ay are vegetables that are the edible roots of a plant that store nutrients and absorb water from the soil. Our vegetables would be the genus of our definiens. Tapos yung diferensya naman, which makes it, again, unique from other species of its genus, would be that are the edible roots of a plant that store nutrients and absorb water from the soil. So it's basically just the intention. Tapos yung ating denotata naman, which is also just basically the extensions of our term, ay carrots, beets, and radishes are all examples of fruit vegetables. So next, kailangan nag-iingat din tayo sa pagbibigay ng diferensya, which is most of the time the number one issue when providing analytical definitions. So, kasi yung differential natin, pwede siya maging too narrow or too broad. Kapag too narrow siya, ito yung nagbibigay tayo ng example na masyado siya nagiging specific na na-exclude na yung other members ng ating denotata or other members of the extension of our definiendum. So, for example here, root vegetables are vegetables that are orange and elongated. So, obviously, ina-exclude niya lahat ng members of the extension of the term root vegetable aside from carrots. So, too broad naman is masyadong malawak yung sakop ng diferensya natin. To the point na nag-a-add siya ng non-members doon sa ating denotata. So, for example, here, root vegetables are vegetables that grow underground. So kapag sinabi lang natin na nag-grow siya underground, masasali din yung other types of vegetables such as the tubers and the bulbs. So next. Para mas na-visualize natin, here is another example of an analytical definition. So our definiendum would be birds. Definiens divided into two parts. Birds are a part of the genus or are a species of the genus animals, pero ang differential nila from the other species ay they are animals with feathers. So ang denotata, which are the examples of birds, are ostriches, penguins, eagles, etc. So kung sasabihin natin na ito in a sentence form, birds are animals with feathers such as ostriches, penguins, and eagles. So ayun, as a recap, generally we have 5 rules when composing definitions. The first one is provide characteristics or traits that all members must possess. So kailangan yung traits natin, they are too narrow or too broad, sabi nga. Para yung make sure na yung ating
characteristic na pinaprovide or yung intention natin or yung differential natin ay yung sakto lang na ma-encapsulate niya lahat ng members of the extension of that specific term. And the second one would be avoid giving circular definitions. Ano nga ba yung circular definition? Ito yung kapag nagbibigay lang tayo ng synonym or ng ostensive definition. Kasi pag nagbigay lang tayo ng synonym ng isang bagay, kunwari, we would describe yun nga, a faith as belief. So parang hindi mo naman binigay, parang kung ano ba talaga yung ibig sabihin nun. Binigyan mo lang siya ng isa pang word na maaaring maintindihan niya, maaaring hindi niya rin maintindihan. Focus on describing at what a term is, not what it's not. So, may instances na hindi natin maiiwasan na, kunwari sa darkness is the absence of light, you're giving a negative definition sa ganung bagay. Pero, as much as possible, kailangan i-describe natin kung ano ba yung term, hindi yung kung ano ba hindi ito. Avoid using figurative, obscure, and metaphorical language. For example, what is beauty? Beauty is in the eye of the beholder. May pagka-poetic yung ganong description. Pero hindi niya binibigyan ng complete idea kung ano ba yung ibig sabihin ng beauty to your audience. And lastly, avoid using synonyms and ostensive definitions when possible. This is just to reiterate point number 2. Kasi kapag ginamit natin to, hindi tayo nagbibigay ng deeper understanding sa ating mga audiences. So next slide. Additional terms. Negative definition defines a term by stating what it's not. Sinabi natin kanina, kailangan natin iwasan to. Pero ayun nga, there are instances na hindi talaga ito may iwasan. Kasi, just like in darkness is the absence of light. In atheism is the lack of belief in a God. Baldness is the lack of hair. So yung mga ganun bagay, hindi mo sila ma-describe without stating what they are not. Kasi hindi nga sila, they are antonyms lang talaga. They are the opposites of something. But as much as possible, we have to avoid these. And circular definition defines a term by providing a synonym of it. So, nagbibigay ka lang ng katumbas na term. So, hemorrhage means bleed. So, dito sa example naman na ito, katulad nung sa negative definition, may times talaga na hindi natin may iwasan na kailangan natin magbigay ng circular definition kasi yun lang talaga sila. And that is sometimes enough na to give our audience a complete understanding of a term. Pero most of the time, these should be avoided.
And once again, my name is Marcos Gabriel P. Diaz.
This has been Roger Imperial.
And we are the group 2. Thank you for listening.
Thank you for listening. Sana nagkato kayo.